Of course, every Monday we run the cabinet segment for you, and tonight our focus is on former Minister and Member of Parliament Maina Wanjigi. You remember Maina Wanjigi is the father to businessman Jimmy Wanjigi. Here is Jackie Wambiru with the latest in the cabinet.
Long before joining active politics, Maina Wanjigi, born in 1931, came to the public limelight when soon after independence, founding President Jomo Kenyatta appointed him Director of Settlement to oversee the implementation of the 1 million acre settlement scheme meant to create homes for more than 1 million Kenyans whose land had been grabbed by the colonialists. Wanjigi joined active politics when contest in the November 1969 Kamukunji constituency by-election occasioned by the assassination of Tom Mboya, the eloquent right-wing minister for planning. The former MP takes credit for initiating and developing the expansive open-air Gikomba market in his constituency. Another project that he took pride in was helping to establish the Juekali informal business sector in Shauri Moyo. In a speech he delivered in Parliament in June 1973, Wanjigi advocated for free primary school education for all, something the country would realize 30 years later. In 1970, founding President Jomo Kenyatta appointed Wanjigi Assistant Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture headed by Bruce Mackenzie. In 1976, Wanjigi was among politicians opposed to the Change the Constitution debate meant to bar the then Vice President Daniel Moi from being the automatic President Kenyatta's successor. In the 1979 general election, the first under President Moi, Wanjigi lost his seat to Nicholas Gore, who was the former chairman of the Luo Union in Nairobi. In December 1979, President Moi appointed Wanjigi chairman of Kenya Airways. When President Moi restructured his cabinet following a snap election in 1983 in an effort to solidify his authority in view of the 1982 attempted coup, he appointed Wanjigi to the cabinet as Minister for Tourism and Wildlife. Wanjigi had recaptured his Kamukunji parliamentary seat in the snap elections. It was during his time in the ministry that the dream to have Kenya receive 1 million tourists by 1988 was unveiled. This would, however, not happen until 2010, 22 years after Wanjigi's projected date. Wanjigi was moved to the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. In another cabinet reshuffle, Moi moved Wanjigi to the Ministry of Cooperative Development. Working closely with Permanent Secretary Andrew Ligale and Commissioner for Cooperatives Erastus Moreithi, he led the ministry in establishing savings and credit cooperative societies across the sector and countrywide. It was during his tenure that Cooperative Bank was launched. Wanjigi was then transferred to the Ministry of Agriculture, where he had cut his teeth as a young professional in the 1960s. In 1990, he was expelled from the ruling party KANU during the clamor for multi-party politics in 1990. Then presumed an enemy of the President Moi regime, Wanjigi was arrested, interrogated and held at the Langata police station for 3 days before being taken to court. No charges were preferred against him. When Section 2A of the Constitution was repealed, Wanjigi entered an unfamiliar arena of opposition politics and joined Kenneth Matiba's Ford-Asili faction of the original Forum for the Restoration of Democracy Ford Party. He and others in the opposition tried to bring together Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga's Ford factions in order to defeat KANU in the 1992 general election. When these failed, he and others took over the Kenya National Congress KNC party in the hope that it would hold the middle ground that ostensibly sensible politicians from both factions would turn to and eventually turn the tables on KANU. But the politicians from both sides of the Ford divide stood their ground and KNC was thrown out of the political contest. Wanjigi vied for the Kamukunji seat on a KNC party ticket and lost coming fourth. The seat was won by by Foda Sili's George Nthenge. In 1997, Wanjigi moved to his home base of Mathioya constituency in Nyeri district to vie on a Foda Sili ticket. The incumbent was KANU Secretary General Joseph Kamotho. Both were badly defeated by the hitherto unknown Ford People candidate Francis Githiari. Wanjigi bowed out of politics and focused on his business empire under the umbrella of Kwacha Group of Companies. He was also the chairman of the SOS Children's Home Program in Kenya for 25 years. Reporting for the Cabinet, I'm Jackie Wambiru.